Good afternoon. Thank you to so many of you for being here today on a special and historic day for the ETSU men's basketball program as we introduce our 18th head coach in our program's history. At this time, it's my honor to introduce our president, Dr. Brian Noland.
Matt, thank you, and to everyone, good afternoon. On behalf of our Board of Trustees, our students, our faculty, and our staff, and my wife, Donna, it's my pleasure to welcome you all today. I'd like to recognize three of our trustees who are with us, Dr. Linda Latimer, Ms. Melissa Stegall-Jones, and Trustee Austin Ramsey. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for all that you do to support our university. East Tennessee State University is a great institution. It's an institution with a pure and simple mission to improve the quality of life for the people of this region. And we've been about the mission of this institution for more than 100 years. And our athletic department plays a critical role in this mission. All around us are banners that recognize and symbolize championships won by student athletes at this institution. In front of me are the names of ETSU legends. But all of these individuals are people who had the chance to come to this institution, to work under outstanding coaches, and to earn a degree that opens doors of opportunity for them later in life. And I know that there's a lot of items swirling around this community about our university, but I want to remind everyone that the purpose of this institution is to make dreams come true. In many respects, that's what today's announcement is. Today's announcement is one step in a journey, and I want to stress to you that this journey is going to take time. We've got an incredible positive announcement that we're going to make in a few minutes that allows us to build on the tradition of excellence that has historically defined our men's basketball team. Our new coach follows in the footsteps of Madison Brooks, who won more than 370 games and took us to the Sweet 16. Sonny Smith, Les Robinson, who took us to historic heights and brought a national spotlight to our campus. Alan LaForce, Ed DeChellis, Murray Bartow, and most recently Steve Forbes, whose legacy was carried on by Coach Shea, who helped bring championships to this institution. As we began the search process, we outlined the characteristics that we were looking for in our new coach. These included a clear sense of honesty and integrity with a strong moral compass, a dedication to our student athletes, and a commitment to ensuring their success on the court and in the classroom. A player's coach, someone who had a willingness to invest time with our players to help them realize their full potential. And someone who realizes that basketball is a game and we need to have fun. And in doing so, we'll naturally win championships. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Desmond Oliver is more than a basketball coach. He's a father, a husband. He's a first-generation college student, and he's an incredible leader. And he's someone that I will believe will lead our basketball team in a direction forward, engaging with our campus and beyond, and continuing our commitment of winning championships. But I want to stress again that the journey ETSU and this community is on is going to take time. We've got to be patient with one another. We've got to open our hearts, and we've got to be committed to listen. Many of the steps in this journey are not going to be done overnight. As a reminder, we've made a lot of commitments in this institution that are part of this journey together. We've made investments in offices and services and scholarships and programs that ensure that our students have the opportunity to realize their dreams. And through the launch of our Committee for 125 Chapter 2 process, we will create task forces ranging from academics to health sciences to diversity and inclusion that are going to address many of the issues that face our campus and beyond. We've had one of the hardest years in American higher education, one of the hardest years of my life. I kind of broke protocol by taking this off. Probably need to put it back on. But this mask and COVID has defined us for the past year. We've not been able to come together like this and celebrate this campus. We've not been able to come together and celebrate what makes this a beautiful place to live, work, and play. Today is a day to celebrate. Today is a day to look forward. Today is a day to recognize that we lay one more foundation block towards putting more of these up on the wall. Coach, I'm excited to have you and your family with us as we embark upon this journey. And I'm excited to get with you and with your team and to begin to build this program the way you want to build our program. It is a beautiful day in Johnson City, Tennessee, and it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium our athletic director, Mr. Scott Carter.
Dr. Noland, I'm going to ask permission to break protocol and take the mask off there. Thank you, everyone, for being here on what is a truly special day for ETSU Buccaneer basketball. Dr. Noland, our Board of Trustees, thank you all so much for the leadership and support you provide to all of us here and everyone on our beautiful campus. I'd also like to thank Mr. Gordon Ball for his generosity in providing for this beautiful facility that we call the home of our ETSU Buccaneer basketball program. I want to thank our tremendous staff for making today possible. A lot of effort went in today over a holiday weekend, and really appreciate this setting that everyone has pulled together to make happen today. I'd like to thank Dr. Richard Sander for being a confidant to me and a great help through the search process that we've gone through in the last several days. I'd like to thank Kristen, Kate, and me, and my beautiful family for loving me and helping me be a better husband and daddy every day. I love you all very much. Now I'd like to introduce a man I'm so proud to welcome to ETSU. I've followed his career for several years and had the privilege of sharing many mutual friends with him as we both worked at a school just down the road. It was wonderful to finally get to meet him and share some time with he and his family just a few days ago at his son Dallas's basketball game down in Sevierville. Learning about him as a coach has been very enjoyable, but watching him be a dad was special. He's prepared for this moment through a career spanning 27 years. Along his journey, he's worked at programs from the Ivy League to the SEC, building a reputation as a man with the highest integrity and an extraordinary work ethic. He's won multiple championships, competed in postseason tournaments throughout his career. He's built relationships that have led to top 5 recruiting classes and recruited and developed NBA draft picks. Those who know him best describe him as a man with comprehensive knowledge of the game, unparalleled relationship building, fierce competitiveness, and a commitment to young men that makes him truly special. As I've gotten to know Coach, I'm most excited about the father, husband, and person that he is. Our ETSU basketball program is very fortunate to have him as head coach. Joined by his wife Annette, sons Dante and Dallas, it is my honor to welcome your head basketball coach, Desmond Oliver. I'm going to give you this hat right here, okay? I'm going to give you this hat. Yep. That's the one that fits.
Okay, thank you.
God bless you, man.
Yes, sir.
Proud of you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, I don't think Scott said my son that game. He came to him Friday night, was 1 for 9 from the field. And normally he shoots it much better than that, so I'm not trying to put you on blast. So don't get nervous. But first of all, I want to start by thanking some people that were very obviously important in this process. First, our president, Dr. Noland. I'll say this, since our team at Tennessee, played in the SEC tournament and we're in the bubble, I was fortunate to have a lot of interaction with different programs and administrators about their program and their vacancy, and talk to a lot of people that were very inspirational in this game of basketball about their programs. And so on Friday, when I talked with Dr. Noland, within minutes it was obvious of how much he loved basketball and loved people. Just the energy. Sometimes with Zoom, it's hard through Zoom to get a feel for people. And so, COVID's been challenging in that sense. But out of all the people I've talked with, and presidents and ADs and support staff and committees, I sat there listening, and I was in awe of the energy and the pursuit of wanting to get his program back in the right direction, and the campus and the community. He spoke about all 3 as one, and that blew me away. And so I walked out of the little room I was in at my house, talking with him, and I talked to my wife, and I said, Annette, that may have been the best conversation I've ever had about basketball, and about leadership, and about a community and a campus in my 27 years. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, President, Dr. Noland. Thank you to Scott Carter, Dr. Sander, everyone on the committee. Thank you to my mentors who helped me get here, David Hart, John Gilbert, and thank you, most to Rick Barnes, who gave me a chance 6 years ago. Every head coach I've worked for has been, a part of this journey, as far as giving me a chance to prove myself and develop. To every assistant coach I've worked with, I've stolen a lot of information that I plan on using here for certain. And I've learned sometimes what not to do from some assistant coaches and head coaches. Thanks to all the players, because quite frankly, none of this is possible without the student athletes, right? Being here for all of us to have a chance to help lead, but also learn from and learn how to lead and guide better. And then most importantly, to my family for supporting me every step of the way. Okay, so my background, and I'm gonna try to get through it pretty quickly, but kind of how I arrived here. 27 years in coaching as an assistant coach, have a chance now to change chairs and sit in different chairs. Born and raised in Buffalo, New York, east side of Buffalo. Those of you who travel to New York and been in Western New York kind of have an idea of what it's like. Very blue collar, hardworking communities and great people who are inspired by everything that's positive there is. Raised by a single parent, single mom who served as both mother and father. She was a trooper, a young mother at 18, and basically instilled three things. It was hard work, being organized, and it was the ability to have dreams. Well, hard work meant be relentless in your approach. Being organized was simply having a plan. And then, basically dreaming was just being goal oriented. And so the vehicles that she wanted me to use to do it were simple: academics and athletics. Work your butt off in both, become the best you can be in both. And that was the mindset for having a chance to make it. Part of my voice. So, I'm from New York, but in the South, the pollen here is on a different level. So my voice is gonna crack, and it's just because, there's all kind of stuff going on where, just drinking this water will help. But, basically, academics and athletics were the two vehicles that she thought could really help me. And so, right around my sophomore year, I committed myself to wanting to be the best version of myself as possible. And literally, I started just working, like just getting a basketball in my basement and working on my handle, watching NBA games and stealing moves from great ones, Isaiah Thomas and those kind of guys I looked up to. And I wasn't very good. I'm not gonna lie, I was not some story where I just walked out of there, walked out of my house and I was talented. I was not very talented. I worked and I got better and went from being one of the worst players in our city to one of the best by my senior year. So played 1 year high school basketball and earned a scholarship to Dominican College, a Division II institution in New York City. At Dominican, I was a 3-year starter. I was captain of our team for 3 years, and certainly I think showed early on some leadership ability. I graduated with a degree in psychology. And again, I never had any idea that coaching was on my, was gonna be in my plans. It just kind of happened. So I knew when I was a sophomore in college that I wanted to get my PhD, come back to higher education and somewhere in the country, a university or college, and help young people, find a way just to give back. So I graduate psychology. I always kept my grades up. I was close to dean's list every year. And so I got a scholarship to Buffalo State College back home. And I majored in student personnel administration. And again, the whole goal was to get that PhD. Well, right around halfway through, I got my master's. I remember sitting home watching TV one night saying, I am so tired of turning in papers and studying for tests. I just need one year just to have a break from all this and do something different and then come back to it and finish it. Well, Jack Armstrong, who at the time was the youngest head coach in the country at Niagara University, Jack offered me a job. And how nice of Jack. The job paid $3,000. And so my mom was like, are you nuts? You're gonna turn down a chance to take your master's and gonna make a lot of money and have a good career somewhere else to go coach Division I ball with Jack? Well, you know what? For years, I was curious about what Division I ball was like. I just wanted to just kind of see it with my own eyes. Because my neighborhood, every kid, every young person dreamed about playing the D1 ball, right? We all had dreams. And so Jack offered me this position for $3,000. And at the time, I didn't realize that what I was doing was very similar, that the challenges coming in were similar to this one. And I'll kind of end with talking in more detail about that. But the job itself was all about, I was a video guy for Jack. I was the academic liaison, which meant back then I was running the study halls. I checked the classes. I dealt with our punishment. If our guys weren't there on time, they dealt with me, and it wasn't pretty. I helped our guys sit down and go through their course schedules and learn how to pick their own classes, as opposed to, I know nowadays we have departments here that do that for them, but they had to learn how to figure out the catalog and what fit towards graduation, and I was that guy that did it with them. Player development guy. I was mentor, counselor, big brother. I practiced with our guys and practiced if guys were injured and short of personnel. I mean, just wore all types of hats. And to this day, honestly, it was the best job I've ever had, probably the hardest, but I was single with no family. And I just stayed on campus all day, all night, and just got close to our guys. And then in the mornings, from like 8 to 5, outside the season, just, spend time with our staff, sharing information and trying to show them how to navigate, how to get closer to our student athletes. And so that experience, Jack Armstrong saw a coach in me. And that experience helped me realize that, you know what, I'm a basketball coach. I'm a leader. I'm someone that needs basketball to be the way I present myself to young people. Well, in that time, I've been blessed to have worked with a lot of great young student athletes at a lot of great universities and colleges, schools like Cornell and so forth, but in some great conferences, Ivy League, Metro Atlantic, the Atlantic 10 Conference, Conference USA, the Big 12, and the SEC. And so listen, I wasn't some guy that was a great player in college that got recruited, so all these big time coaches knew who I was. That wasn't me. I was a blue collar, young fella who found a way to get better and just found a way just to kind of, crawl my way up the ladder of success from program to program and find a way to impact programs and somehow get here. Okay. Well, through it all, I'm blessed to say that I had a chance to, again, win championships, develop a lot of people. I mean, nothing's better than, I'm a little older now, but having guys reach out to me and they're in their 30s and they're married with families and they're like, Coach, I'm doing great. I'm working, I have a great career. And it's all because you had these discussions. We just talked. We just communicate. I mean, as a family, we talk about everything. And so there's no magic wand I have to just kind of wave it at our guys and make them successful. We're just gonna talk, roll our sleeves up and work and grind and find ways to be successful. During that time, I'm proud to say that, basketball helped me meet my wife. Been with her for 19 years, married for 17 years, all because of my involvement in basketball and being connected to a friend that knew a friend. And all of a sudden, we're together and have these two great boys by our side. And so that's my past. And that's who I am right now, standing in front of you. My vision. And so I just spent an hour and 15 minutes talking to our players, to our student athletes. The vision for my program is simple. I want to continue winning championships. And I said to them, right now, clearly, we are not close to being ready for that. There's a long way to go. We have a lot of work to do. And I was candid about what I saw on film in terms of the areas that I think that I and we, staff I hire, can help them improve at. We talk about, getting better defensively and rebounding and so forth. But winning championships, graduating all of our student athletes, and this is just a personal thing for me, is wanting to see our young student athletes compete on men's basketball and be the highest GPA program in our department. Why? I guarantee you, most of those guys, if not all of them, at some point in time were doubted academically. Can't do it. You know, you're a C student, you're not a good student. I heard all those things. You're not smart enough. Your high school was a bad high school. And my whole thing is, no, just roll your sleeves up, do the work, find a way to impact your life, take a hold of your life, take advantage of everything that's in front of you as far as support staff and so forth. And then lastly, my vision is to do a tremendous job of helping to guide these young student athletes on who they're going to become when the ball stops bouncing. I don't think enough coaches talk about that, because you know why? Our game has just gotten incredibly large. It's financial. There's big time careers and TV contracts, and sometimes the pressure for us to satisfy all of that, you forget about the student athlete. Not here. And so how? So I just told our guys for an hour and 50, I said, so guys, every day that we step into this complex or we step on campus, right, we'll work towards winning. And we'll start with small victories. It's the small victory leads to big wins philosophy. And so as a team, I want to walk onto the court, right, and look like Tennessee. I'm not talking about getting 5-star guys or even 4-star guys for that matter, maybe, but not promising that. But why can't we physically look like Tennessee and Kentucky and Auburn or any ACC team? So that starts with performance training, right, in a weight room, but more importantly, each individual taking care of themselves by getting up in the morning, getting a proper night's rest. That's a commitment. Eating breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. If I get my guys doing that for a day, for a week, and for a month, that's a small victory. And again, enough of those over time, you'll start seeing a difference in their body, and all of a sudden now, it'll lead to big wins on the basketball court. Academically, same mindset. Getting my guys, teaching our student athletes, if they already don't have that habit, of getting up early in the morning, right? Being prepared for class, sit in front of the class. So my whole thing in college was, I want to act like I belong. I want to act like my two sons are blessed to go to great schools. I want to act like I went to a great high school in Buffalo. One that was maybe a private school that just sends kids to college. My high school didn't. It wasn't that kind of school. But act like I belong. So sit in front, engage in your lesson plan, and talk to your professors and be involved in the class. Have all your work done and be prepared. If available, every professor who has office hours, make sure at least once that semester you spend time engaging on you and in your class and your work and asking questions during office hours, because that's the difference sometimes in getting an A- or an A or a B+ and a B, is the fact that they know, like my teachers knew I wanted to go to grad school and get a PhD. They knew it. All I talked about was just that. And so every grade was pretty important for someone that couldn't pay for school to make sure I worked myself to a point where I earned those grades. I want that for our guys, right? I want that for our guys. So do it for a day, for a week, for a month, small victory. And they lead to graduations with guys making the dean's list, right? That's the goal. As individuals, we all have a number in us to max out. Some are 10s, right? And those 10s might become presidents and lead our nations or lead institutions. Most of us have different numbers. How many of us actually reach our potential in life? I mean, how many? Like, that great survey to figure out how many of us reach our potential. I'm a firm believer that the majority of us do not. We fall short somehow, somewhere. And the ones who do have individuals who hold them accountable, who continue to challenge them. So I want to make sure that my job is to hold my guys accountable, teach them, lead them, put them in position to have success, partner with career development and office, places on campus that can help them identify exactly who they are. On the basketball court, how will you play, coach? How do you win championships, right? Well, the acronym I've come up with, I spell it DRRE. And for like 4 years, I've been thinking about the best programs I've coached under, the best programs, and the head coaches I admire and try to take bits and pieces of what worked for that team. Like, for example, Jim Barron at Rhode Island was a tremendous offensive coach, and he gave kids confidence on offense. He let them play. Rick Barnes at Tennessee is an incredible motivator. His teams guard and defend. They're tough. They rebound. So that DRRE is all about that. Defend and rebound. It takes absolutely no talent to do it. Zero. It just takes a mindset. It takes effort. It takes a staff committed to work on that every day in practice. And we'll really coach that hard at a high level and strive to be one of the best in the country defending and rebounding. No question about it. And then when they do it, and now we force a turnover or a missed shot, I want to give my guys confidence and have the green light to play. I'm not talking about AAU or any kind of, street ball or any ball that might not have the amount of practice time to take the right type of shots that make sense at our level. I'm just talking about confidence and freedom to take the shots that we practice. And so the mindset is, can we score in 8 seconds? 8 seconds or less. That's the mindset. Right now, there are some teams tonight who are playing, and one of them, I won't say who, but one of them is 18th in the country in pace of play. I know this. I know fans. I know prospects and recruits. I know donors love coming to see the show. And I call it a show. When you're playing and you're scoring in the 80s and you're winning championships and you're playing fast and you're playing 8, 9, 10 guys, and now that transfer portal, because you're playing and guys are committed and involved, it's not that, it's not filled with guys wanting to leave because they're a part of it. When you play 6, 7 guys, you may have 3 or 4 guys who aren't involved and want to transfer the next year and leave the program. I'm going to find a way, and certainly I'm not going to give our guys any of that. They have to go earn it, but I'm confident that they will. And so the last one is execute. A lot of times you hear a lot of coaches that press on play hard on defense, and they rebound, they play fast. And then when teams slow them down on offense, they can't score, right? They can't manufacture offense. I want to be unique in that we have enough discipline on our team because of how we live our lives every single day. And when I call a play and I tell our guys it's going to be a post up for whoever has a mismatch or matchup problem, they run the play and they execute it. And so we'll work towards that day one. And that's trust. I talked to our guys again for an hour and 15 minutes. I said, what was the difference between this team, your team this year, and the 30-4 team of 2 years? And a lot of those guys played on that same team. And they said, well, they kind of blamed it on COVID. They said, well, because of COVID, that it was hard for us to be together and spend time together and develop as a family and get closer. And we can all blame COVID. Right? I mean, COVID's COVID. I mean, COVID made it hard for us to get out and spend time as a staff and do this consistently, right? That's easy. But the reality is we're going to find a way, regardless of what's going on around us, to love each other and be so connected as a team where nothing can affect that bond, that we share the basketball, but that we execute at a high level, and we're going to get back to playing championship basketball. And on top of that, add a few more pieces to the current group to make those guys that much stronger. And so that's the mindset. That's the mindset. DRRE, defend, rebound, run, and execute. And then again, with career development at the very end, I want our guys to leave here and know exactly who they want to become. Like, I knew what I wanted to do. As a junior in college, I knew I wanted to do something on this level. I knew it. Most student athletes graduate and they have no idea, especially guys in men's basketball. They have no idea what's next. And in recruiting, and I'm a victim of this, being a Power 5, coach or whatever, we do a great job of selling the NBA. We oversell it. 1% maybe are going to go. So now the other 99 point whatever percent have got to get a job. And most of them, because they're so brainwashed because of the hours spent on the court, haven't developed skills and haven't had a chance for internships and mentoring. We're going to start a mentoring program here at some point once I get my feet on the ground. And I want to find corporate mentors, work with compliance and do it the right way, but find corporate mentors so that now our guys have done internships, they built their resumes, they won championships, They're well known in the community, and they know what they want to be in life. And now when they leave here, they graduate. They can go, run their own businesses, start a family, and then come back when they're 30 and be our biggest donors. Like, to me, that's the vision of a great program. They're 32 and they are doing great. And they're like, I think, ETSU and my coaching staff and our administration for putting me in this position. And they sit down and cut a check that has no impact on their livelihood. They just go cut a big check for us. That's a win on top of hanging banners. So that's the mindset. Recruiting. So, all right, coach, you're talking about all these championships and trying to win banners and whatnot and all this. Well, how do you do it? First, we have to re-recruit our current guys because, quite frankly, we got some talent on the team. They can play. They're talented. And more importantly, we got some good dudes, like good dudes. And so re-recruit our guys. And listen, I'm not going to beg them to come and stay and play. I'm going to just show them love and be who I am as a person, as a father, and hopefully starting tomorrow or worst case scenario on Wednesday, get in the gym and just be there with them and just spend that organic time rebounding, having fun, getting shots up, and starting to coach and nurture the guys that want to be a part of it. And so, and then next is adding a few more pieces, right? What is talent? To me and my staff, it is size, skill, and IQ at your position, especially. And again, there are always exceptions to the rule. I think there's two guys up there that are like 5'8", 5'9", who would be exceptions. I'll take those kind of guys all day, every day, right? Just got to go find them. And then I call it the ABCs and Ds of recruiting. A, academics. I want to find young people who want to graduate. I want to find parents, mentors, aunts, uncles who are the adults responsible for these young people for being here that will have my back. So when that phone call gets made and he only had an 85 on the test and he's a 95 caliber student athlete and I'm not satisfied, that they feel me and aren't just saying, well, man, coach is kind of like, he's complaining about nothing, right? Have my back on that, right? So A, academics. B, and myself and Dr. Noland talked about this on Friday for a while because he's a baller, right? I want to find guys who love, like ballers are guys that just love it. I'm not talking about LeBron James baller. I mean guys who just have a passion. I am 51 years old and I still play. My son and I, we still rumble every now and then. And I'm winning less, but we still rumble, right? We still rumble. And so I want ballers. I want guys who have a passion for it. I want guys who want to be player of the year. I want guys that want to be All-Americans. I want guys that want it all. They want to be lottery picks. And you know what? We've done it. We've had some 3-star, some 2-star and 3-star guys with player development and evaluation that have done it. Up the hill, up the road there at UT, Grant Williams. We beat Princeton and Harvard and Yale to get Grant at Tennessee. Admiral Schofield, Jordan Bone, Kyle Alexander, they exist. There might be some on this campus right now that, the jury is still out, how great they can become. So ballers. And then C, one of the most important, when I was a young coach, a young assistant, all I saw was talent. I just saw talent. I had no idea how important character was. And sometimes early on, I brought in some characters, some guys who I knew probably shouldn't be playing for this head coach and on this campus because I don't know if they're mature enough. And you take them and your culture, and right, like this whole thing, ETSU has a tremendous academic culture, right? Our program must have a tremendous athletic culture that can just nurture. And over years, when you have a great culture, it turns into a standard. And now the standard will police itself. As a parent, I got it good. My 16-year-old son, Dante, can help us raise and develop young Dallas because he's going through it. So he's policing the house for us. So, let's put my foot down and debating different things because he's doing it. So as a team, when guys understand the culture and it's a standard, those seniors and juniors police the freshmen and sophomores. And now off the court, they make the right decisions. They've got their back and nothing negative happens because of those guys. So that's C, is having high character. I want high character guys in my program. And then D, I think this has shaped all of us in here. All you guys are here are successful, right? And you've had drive. Somewhere along the line, either you've had great parents who have just groomed you for this moment, or you've had great parents who have like pushed you and challenged you, because people, I call it hate, don't respect, under-evaluate you, and it just drives you to prove them wrong, right? We all have those memories, right? In high school, middle school, you're not big enough, you're not tall enough, you're not pretty enough, you're too heavy, you're too skinny, your grades aren't good enough. And people that have drive, they just take that energy, man, and they turn it into something special. Listen, I want to recruit those guys. The NBA is full of them. Over 27 years, I have so many relationships in the NBA right now with guys who GMs and scouts, and the Steph Currys of the world, the Dame Lillards of the world. Check their history. Those weren't 5-star dudes. Those were guys that people said he was too small. Your daddy was a good player, but you're not. And all of a sudden they turned that energy and they just worked and they grew a little bit, and that size and skill kicked in, and they become special. And I think in life, you have that in life. And it's not just with sports, it's there in life for engineers, doctors, lawyers, and that's going to be our program. That's the A, B, C's, and D's. And then lastly, we are going to work ourselves, I call it inside out, start in our backyard. When I arrived in Knoxville 6 years ago, and I'm not taking credit for this by any means, but I was a part of it. Rob Lanier and I were talking with the local AAU programs there. Bobby Mays, former player, a lot of Russell Bivens, there's 8 or 9 different guys who are youth coaches that are people in the community. And I said to him, how can we help young people, not just for basketball, but in general, build programs and develop young minds? Well, Rob Lanier and I basically, got out in the community and walked around, drove around, went to gym, went to churches, went to different functions, and just talked and asked questions about how do we change the narrative of basketball in Knoxville, because initially no one thought that there was any talent there at this level on a consistent level. And no one thought that Knoxville could have 8 or 9 or 10 Division I prospects of all ages, maybe a 7th grader or 6th grader or whatever. So all those guys involved, all the youth coaches, the rec coaches involved in it, we put our head together and we said, how about this? Add player development to your routine and your process, and let's grow it. So starting inside out, starting in Knoxville and Morristown, all these areas that have players, we got to recruit hard and find a way to keep that young talent home. And even if we don't get them, maybe they go Power 5 and don't play as much, and now they're in the portal, and now because they have the A, B, C's, and D's, they come back to us on the rebound, and now they're sophomores and juniors, and we get them for 2 or 3 years to win championships. And so I believe that we have to be so connected in this process that starting in our backyard, as far as 5 to 5.5 hours from campus, that basically, I believe as a parent, parents will drive their kids to college 5 to 5.5 hours. I know I will. I'll do it. They'll come down on the weekends. My son plays on Saturday afternoon. I'll drive down on Friday, stay overnight, watch the game, and either drive back on Saturday night or on Sunday. So we have to be strong in those communities and be visible with recruits, right? AAU coaches, high school coaches, know all the top players, get them to campus when they're young, elite camps, different things of that nature. And so that's the mindset for recruiting. And then last, community. Okay, so a couple of nights ago, talking to Earl Grant. Earl Grant was at College of Charleston, really good friend of mine. We just call each other. So again, I'm someone who I never had a father figure where my parents weren't married. So I couldn't watch my happily married parents teach me how to be a good husband. So I just talk to people. I watch successful couples, and we try to mirror what makes them successful and find the right elements in their life that allows it to work, right? So, and so you know, I'm talking to Earl about his family and his kids. And Earl's always sharing about his sons. He has 2 boys that play as well. Well, Earl's at Boston College right now as their head coach. And he says to me, he says, sometimes, he says, God puts you in a place for a specific reason. Like just out of the blue, I call, what's up, Earl? He stopped because he knew about ETSU. Sometimes I said, man, all right, here we go. And so we're talking, and it resonated. I mean, it made sense. So I forgot that I began my my college coaching career at Niagara with Jack Armstrong, fighting a similar battle. You know, Jack hired me. He had no one on staff that looked like me. He had an entire team, 13 guys on scholarship that looked like me. He had an older staff that couldn't relate, that the players wouldn't let them relate for whatever reason. They were young, they were immature, and he needed help. Now I'll say this, he didn't tell me that when he was trying to hire me. Because if he was, I'm not sure I would have taken the job, because it was a hard job. But I'm just joking, I would have taken the job. But that was the challenge, was he wanted me there to impact their lives and to show them that here's a young person from the neighborhood, I'm from the neighborhood, I am, that had 2 degrees, who was a scholar and grew up in the projects with no father, no brothers or sisters, and look how he turned out. So stop rebelling, stop fighting us on this, and join hands and let us coach you. And that's what I did. With all those hats I told you about, right? The academics and all that. And it was great, it was great. So that's why I'm here. That's one reason why I'm here. That's one example of why I'm here. At Rhode Island, years ago, Jim Barron, who's a mentor. Jim Barron coached his 2 sons. He had 2 great players in his family. Jimmy Jr. was a great player at Rhode Island, great player. I think he's an all-time 3-point shooter in history of the A-10. His son Billy plays overseas. Jim Barron had gotten a job. He had hired me at St. Bonaventure. I'm there for 9 months. We were picked to be last in the conference, make the NIT. Just an overachieving coach, just incredible offensive coach. He leaves and gets offered the job at Rhode Island. He had spent 10 years in Olean, New York, and he was ready to make a move. He played there for years and he coached there for years. So we're in Rhode Island. And I'll just say this, the program has some challenges coming in. And he can only hire one of us at a time because they had to take care of some numbers and contracts of the previous staff. He said, Des, I'm gonna hire you. And I want you to get in your SUV, and he said, well, use your credit card, because I can't pay you for over a month. He said, just to keep your receipts, and we'll kind of get you in the back end. And he said, oh, by the way, I can't help you at all, but we need to sign 6 guys. And he said, you got 2 weekends to do it. Go to Philly this weekend and watch guys, and then New York and watch guys. And I hung up the phone, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I can do this. I hadn't done it before, right? So I called my mentor, my big brother, Rob Lanier, who was coaching, I think, at Texas. And Rob said, this is your chance to prove yourself. So I said, bet. Let's see what happens. Signed 6 guys, signed the 2nd best recruiting class in the Atlantic 10 Conference that year. Our first year there, we only won 8 games with freshmen and a couple transfers. But in year 2, player development, guys by my house every weekend, nurturing, getting close, bonding, getting, just getting more connected. 21 wins, the most improved team in America with the same personnel. And what happens, Jim signs, at the time, the most lucrative mid-major contract, I think, in the country. He gets a 10-year extension. And I was proud to help him do that. I was proud. And so, again, everyone said, why are you taking that job? But Jim, that's a hard job. Niagara, $3,000 to deal with that? And you're educated? Like, why would you do that? So then, 6 years ago in Knoxville, Coach Barnes gets the job. And let me tell you something, I was proud to work for a Hall of Famer, a potential Hall of Famer. But I knew that Tennessee, who had coaching changes over the last several years, had some work to do. And so we had some juniors and seniors who didn't trust anyone because they had 3 different coaches over the course of 3 years or 4 years and didn't trust us. So we all came in, I came in, we had to mend those fences. We had a community that when we went out, and again, we don't have family here. She's from Toronto, Canada. We have no family here. So basically, the community has got to be our family. Like, we have to go out to the community because, you know, if not, we're just going to be either in the house or on campus. So we are out and about. We are doing our thing in the community at restaurants. We're talking. We're meeting and greeting. We are out and just wanting to meet folk. And after a while, if you meet and greet, people tell you the truth. And the truth was that they weren't connected to our college. They just weren't. This is the truth. They weren't connected. And they felt like the type of character, even though the program has always won games, that, you know, people questioned and said, and they checked me and said, as a young man, as a coach who's recruiting young talent, can you recruit young people that we're proud of? Can you find a way to win games and recruit young people that we're proud of, or will make us proud of them, that will come out and spend time in our community and get to know us, and not have it just be those guys up there and us? And I did. We did. We brought in all those guys I just told you about. We brought in the Jordan Bones and Jordan Bowdens and Grant Williams and Kyles and Levante Turners. And so we did that. And so here's the ending to it. And I know there'll be a lot of questions. All the media guys are going to want to question me about what's going on here, the stuff that happened. I get all that. So I'm giving you this to tell you who I am. So, excuse me, my throat. So basically, my son Dante is playing in Gatlinburg. Playing in Gatlinburg in the AAU tournament. So at the time, I'm involved with a head coaching search. This is 2 years ago. And we had just won 31 games. And I'm sitting there, guys. I'm sitting there watching my son. He's playing a hell of a game. So I was, sometimes if your son's playing well, you're sitting there enjoying, you're smiling, you sit back and you're enjoying it. Because sometimes when they're not playing well, you're sitting there like this. You're trying to hide yourself. So I'm sitting there, and we're on the main level, and there's a staircase that leads up there to the second level. And I'm looking up, and so again, I'm from the neighborhood, so I see and I hear everything, because I've been programmed to. So my neighborhood senses kind of start to shine a little bit, and I'm looking, and I see about 20 people who don't look like me pointing at me, and they're like, so I'm like, what's going on? And so I watch, and they walk their way down the staircase, and they walk around the court, and they are coming over to my area. I'm like, and I hope there's no rumors out there about me, getting involved with nothing crazy. I mean, I don't think there's any rumors out there about me as assistant coach. And this sweet lady walks over to me. She was dressed in Tennessee orange, and she said, "Are you Coach Oliver?" I'm like, how did she know who I am? I said, "Yeah." And she said to me, so I'll backtrack. When we signed that class I brag about, right? Those 3-star guys who made it, who won 31 games, winningest team in school history, the winningest team in the SEC over 2 years. I got some hate mail from our fans, or so-called fans. I got some hate mail, emails that were really negative. And again, I'm a neighborhood guy, and I matured a lot. And I mean, they were kind of sensitive, but nothing terribly negative, but just pretty much saying you are not good at your job, is what they were saying. And so, as a mature adult, as a classy, coach and leader, it took me a day to get my mind right, and I emailed each of them back. And my email is read. I just pretty much said, "Listen, love it here. Excited to roll my sleeves up and grind and work for you, serve this community, excuse me, and find a way to impact lives at every level." And I said, "Listen, in 4 years, if I'm not getting it done at this level as far as being an assistant coach and doing my part of the program, we won't be here, most likely." That's just the name of that's the business. I said, "Just give me a chance." So hold your sin on your response and give me 4 years. It didn't take that. It took another year, and things had turned. So get back to this lady. She walks up to me, "Coach Oliver, are you Coach Oliver?" "Yes, I am." And she with like a tearful look, she said, "Please don't leave us." Man. So I said, "What do you mean don't leave you?" She said, "Well, that job in Atlanta is trying to recruit you. Stay 1 more year. We need you for 1 more year." I'm thinking, I don't call timeouts. I'm an assistant coach. Literally, I am keeping the files If it's my scout, yeah, I'm involved. But for the most part, Rick Barnes is getting that done. And so it's a true story. And so I was emotional and I was nervous at the same time, not knowing what to say. And she said, we need you for one more year because we need you to bring in some more guys that mirror the guys who just left here because they have changed lives. And so that's why I'm here. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Coach, thank you. Welcome to the ETSU family. We'll take some media interviews over here on the side. There's some reception, food and drinks over here in the corner, so feel free to help yourself and spend a little time with Coach this afternoon. Thank you for